I'd love to introduce actor, writer, a person who took Shakespeare's soliloquies and monologues and incorporated Jamaican Patois to provide a fresh and compelling take on the canonical text. Please welcome Brenda Garrick. Come on.
Good morning, everyone. Well, go on. So my name is Brenda Garrick, and I'm an actor and a singer and dancer, and I'm an office worker, and I have worked in schools as well as a primary school TA. And why do you think I have all these jobs? Why do you think? Anyone? Yes, to make money, but also because actors are normally out of work and I have to pay the bills. So I've had to diversify and try and keep myself, in the game of acting by doing all these other jobs, which some I enjoy, some I don't. So my acting name is Taurian Garrick because I went to a clairvoyant. Don't know if you believe in having your fortune told, but I went to a clairvoyant and she said, you'll have more success if you change your name. And that was the challenge, because I thought, well, what do I change it to? Because my middle name is Gemma. But then she said, oh, no, I don't think so. And I thought, oh, cheers. So I was at home one day flicking through the TV and I saw the credits for a program that you might not know called Hill Street Blues. And there was an actor called Taurian Black. And I thought, wow, I'm a Taurian because I was born in May. So maybe I'll adopt that name. So that's how I got my stage name. So my claim to fame is working with Patsy Palmer from EastEnders. We did Stepping Out together. We toured around the country, and it was great fun because I saw parts of England and Wales that I never thought hadn't even heard of, like Mould in Wales. I thought, why would you call a town Mould? So that was great fun and a great experience because, like Ashley said, say yes to everything that you can as long as it's safe, because you never know where that yes will take you. Because I could have said no to this because I've never actually spoken in a conference before about my book. I've been to schools and that's a lot easier, I think, slightly different. But talking in front of all of you is quite daunting. But I said yes, and here I am, and so I hope you enjoy it. So I've been in lots of short films, and I've been in plays and commercials, and I've written not just Jamakespeare. I've written a play about a female warrior called Nanny of the Maroons, because one teacher said to me, we've seen so many Mary Seacole one-woman plays, but we don't know anything about Nanny, who's another Jamaican person. And so she said, will you write a play and do a one-woman play? So I thought, okay, I'll do that. And it's not going to be a one-woman play now. It's going to be a full-blown, full-length play, because there were so many characters that I wanted to include that now it's a full-blown play. So hopefully I'll get that published. And that will be, part of the canon of plays about black female characters. And the reason why I started writing was because I wanted to be a famous children's author. And that hasn't happened yet, but hopefully it will. I've written 2 picture books, and I've written a short story for children. But what happened first was that I started with the Jamaican Patois and putting it together with Shakespeare. So I went down that road, and fortunately I was able to get that published. I entered a competition, and that was to be part of an initiative called 20 Black British Writers being published in 2020. So I was lucky enough to be chosen for that. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic and lockdown, our publicity wasn't that great. So hopefully it will pick up as time goes on. But before I go into the Jamakespeare, I wanted to share with you excerpts that I've written because I understand that you're studying or have studied Macbeth, the Scottish play, and Romeo and Juliet. So I'm going to do an excerpt from that for you. So I started with the witches because that's how it starts in Macbeth. But I think the witches are really cool. I love I just love all the bad guys in anything that I watch or read. So I tried to translate Shakespeare's language into Jamaican Patois. And I started with the three witches. I'm sure you'll recognise where I've taken it from. When shall the eye trees meet again, in thunder, lightning, or in hurricane? When the hurly-burly's done, when the fight done, lost and won, that will be before the sun is set. Where it there, pan the heat, there to ramp with Macbeth. I reach Grey Malkin, Crapo Abal, hush! Dread is lax and lax is dread. Unu reap what you sow when you make unu bed. 3 times the puss a bawl, 3 times more the pig a squeal. Harpy ball, the time is now. Round the duchy we are go, stir the entrails to and fro. Bullfrog hiding from the sun, when day and night has 31. Venom a sweat, sleep unu traitor, boil in the duchy, now, not feel later. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire are burn and duchy pot are bubble. Fillet a jerk snake, in the duchy boil and bake. I newt, toe a bullfrog, wool a bat and tongue a dog. Adder's fark, a blind worm sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing. For a charm, a powerful trouble, like a fish broth boil and bubble. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire a burn and Dutch pot a bubble. And this is the porter's speech from the time when there's knocking on the door of the castle. Rotted! Who that a knocking on me blasted door? Anyone dead? I is the porter, and this is L right here. Knock, knock, knock. Who in the name of Beelzebub is here? See him there? Crop dead, farmer dead. Me a sweat in this here heat. Don't forget your handkerchief. Knock, knock. Who that a break down me door in the name of Beelzebub? Lord God, here's Mr. Big Shot Equivocator. Who couldn't equivocate himself in a heaven? Come in now, Mr. Equivocator. Sure. Knock, knock, knock. Who that? Lord of mercy. Me dead fi hungry fi curry goat. Knock, knock, knock. Them noisy? What unu want? This icebox too cold for hell. Me gone, but remember, I the potter. But wait, you know, noise, painting, sleep, piss, it provoke, but you can't perform. Too much a drink is an equivocator for the desire, but unu have no lead in your pencil. Sleep is all unu good for, to lie down. Yes, sir, it done kill me throat and make me giddy, but you see me, I is strong. Thank you. Okay, so the feedback I got from Jamakespeare was always very positive. And I was inspired by a group of black actors called the Posse. And they did a lot of live comedy shows and sketch shows about 18, 20 years ago. And I thought, I want to write for them because they made me laugh so much. I enjoyed their performances. So I thought, I'm going to write for them. And I did. And then they all went their separate ways, and the posse was no more. So I thought, what do I do with this monologue that I've written? Because I thought it would be really funny if an actor comes on stage dressed in the regalia of a Shakespearean play, and then he would start speaking, or she would start speaking in the Shakespearean language, and then suddenly they would branch off into patois, and I thought that would be a really good comical effect. But then I had nowhere, had no outlet for that monologue, and I thought that my favourite food, or one of them, is Jamaican Patois, so I thought, let me write about that. And I thought I can add it to Shakespeare's monologues. So the first one was written about 20 years ago, and it stayed in my drawer until about 2010, when I thought, I'm going to join a writers group because I need to, I was getting the itch or the urge to do more writing. So I joined a writers group and I read that poem to them. And they said, have you got any more? And I said, no. And they said, well, why not? And I said, well, what do I write about? And they said, well, you've got to write more because we really enjoyed that one. So as daunting as it was, I said yes to that challenge. And now I have 35 and counting. So hopefully I'll do another collection of poems. So I'm going to read that one for you. And I'm sure you'll recognise where this one is from. Is this a patty which me see before me? Come, let me nyam thee, the answer to me belly. Come here now, man, me have thee not yet crave thee still. Why unu like to make me so? You treat me bad, man. Me belly a gripe me for true. Is you a figment of eye and imagination? But wait, what you a say? Me still see you. Are you that drag me here, Me left me rice and peas, chicken, dumpling, plantain. Chana man, me gone. Thank you. So, I'm sure you recognise that was from Is This a Dagger Which I See Before Me? So I thought that I would write these monologues. I like to call them monologues rather than poems because I think they should be performed. But the reason why I wrote about Jamaican, the reason I wrote about the patty was because, like I said before, that I love patties. And I just thought that I want to express my experience as a black British woman and put that into the poems or monologues. And so a lot of the monologues you'll find might relate to the black British experience, but it's for everyone because we all need to understand each other. That's how we grow as people and, live together and get along. So, you think, why did I choose Shakespeare? But I could have chosen anyone. But the thing is that Shakespeare is so revered. And I thought, well, let's knock him down a peg or two and introduce him to Jamaican Patois. So, but I'm not the first to do it because there have been a lot of film adaptations that have chosen Shakespeare as their inspiration. So you'll have films like, the most famous one is West Side Story, and that's based on Romeo and Juliet. Then you have Kiss Me Kate, which is a musical, and that's based on Taming of the Shrew. And then you have 10 Things I Hate About You, which is another one based on Taming of the Shrew, and Return of the Forbidden Planet, which is another musical, and that is based on The Tempest. I found one book that has used Shakespeare as an inspiration for the story, and it worked really well. And again, he used Macbeth. Why do you think it's called the Scottish play sometimes? Why do you think that is? I'm going to ask you questions sometimes, yes? Yes, very unlucky, because they said that usually when the performance was on during Shakespeare's time and maybe after he died, that there would always be a hex put onto the play. So there was always unlucky incidents that would happen, and they'd have to get someone to remove the hex, because a hex is a really powerful spell. And also, if a play was doing really badly in a production, they would think, oh, let's put on Macbeth, because then it will, Macbeth always drew in the crowds. So they would recoup their money. So that's why it was seen as maybe an unlucky play as well. And the book that I mentioned, it's by Neil Arksey, who's written for children and TV, and it's called Macbee, and it's set in a school, and it's set around football. So if you're into football, you'll really love that play. That book, sorry. So I've said what is a soliloquy or a monologue? And a soliloquy is, anyone? What is a soliloquy? Yes? Well done. Great. That's a great explanation. Thank you. So, also a monologue, it says, is a composition put into the mouth of one person or intended to be spoken by one person. And it could be a conversation to the audience, or they're speaking out aloud. And the modern equivalent is if you think of films and TV, if you hear of a voiceover, then that is the theatrical equivalent of a monologue. So, my heritage is African, Grenadian, British. And I wrote in Jamaican Patois because I feel that Jamaican Patois is very, it's quite powerful. It's really direct, and I felt that that really suited the monologues that I wrote, because I wanted them to have attitude and to have, real kind of swagger. Because some of the words that you would hear in Grenadian that might be deemed as rude, they haven't really got the same weight, I felt, as Jamaican Patois. So never be scared to write however you feel, because I've written as a angry Jamaican grumpy old man, really. A lot of the monologues are from a male perspective, but I'm a woman, but that's where it led me, so I just kept with it. And I felt that would work better than writing in Grenadian. But my parents weren't very happy, but what can I do? So I'm going to read again from my book, and this is from Romeo and Juliet, where Romeo first meets Juliet, but I've had a twist and I've changed it into this scene. But stop! Who wasted me electric? Oh, it the lovebirds them. Switch it off. You pay the bills? What me want to know is, what wrong with the sun? Or the moon for that matter? It plenty bright. Why unu lovers like to woo one another in the dark anyhow? You nyam carrot or what? And why she upstairs and him down the road? Them can't talk to one another? Them can hug and kiss up? Anyhow, me know the youth them love fi text. Now what stupidness is that? I need nothing to talk, I is a master communicator, sir. Me, I talking and making noise to the day I drop. Boy, youth wasted on the picnic them. And then you recognize this one from Macbeth. This is from the the Porter scene again, but I've changed the location to Halloween. Knock, knock, knock. Who the hell wanna lick down me door in this unearthly hour? Do them see one light in yonder window break? No. Me make sure me turn off all the lights and the TV in a me yard. And yet me still hear the gate just swing open. The footsteps them come up the stairs and the ratty doorbell a ring. Who them think me is? Dracula? Knock, knock, knock. Who the hell wanna batter down me door? Are you parents wickedy? The picnic should be in their bed, snuggled up with Teddy. Not knocking pon me door, walking the streets, begging for sweets. Uno na ear sweet them bad for uno teeth. Go on. The dentist have all him sharp tools waiting for uno. Just have uno backyard ready. And this is another Macbeth-esque monologue, and it's dealing with the virus and lockdown. Hello, what fresh hell is this? Is this a virus which me see before me? Come, let me flee thee. Me have thee not. Good. Me not want fi dead yet. Who or what a try and murder me? It's that how many miles from me yard? And overnight, it end up right under me nose hole. What a go on with Mother Hurt? Pandemonium. Me did know this virus na ramp. When Mackie D's hand prime money are shut down. Lord have mercy, things that must stuffy vanish. Hand gel, what wrong with soap and water? Toilet roll, how big is unu bottom? Then flour, eggs, and sugar? All me a say is, look pan unu waistline. Me can't take this social distance. Me I use a tape measure in the bedroom. And me I fall off the bed. It now go work. Thank you. So are there any questions at all? I might have to come back to you on that one. I've never thought of choosing another author to adapt my style of writing to. That would be a good challenge for me, to find someone that would actually work. No, brilliant question, but I can't think of who I would choose. That's really good. Has anyone got any ideas of who could be adapted to a style that is not really Dickens? Okay. Yeah, I could, I mean, what I would do, if I looked at Dickens, I would choose the themes that he wrote about. So I think he wrote a lot about poverty and sort of stealing, begging. So I'd probably choose something along those lines, because the reason why Shakespeare is still relevant today and is universal is because he chose themes to write about that will never end, really, because he wrote about love, jealousy, hate, and comedy, because we all like to laugh. So, he will always endure throughout time, I think, because he chose themes. I mean, I'm sure he didn't think, I'm going to write about comedy because I know it will last for 400 years or more. He just wrote what he was maybe exposed to or what he liked. And so, he will never go out of fashion. But, I mean, who likes Shakespeare here? Who loves Shakespeare? Oh, wow, there's quite a few. Because I hated Shakespeare when I was at school. I mean, who hates Shakespeare? I mean, I don't hate him now, but I did when I was first introduced to him, because I just felt that the language didn't relate to me, and also I just thought, who goes around speaking in monologues, you know? Who does that? I mean, you might be thinking it in your head, but to actually see someone performing that, I just thought, it's not for me. But because I saw it performed, because, you know, when you're in school, you look at it through books and, you know, you study it, and it didn't really work for me. But when I actually saw a production of Macbeth, then that's when I thought, wow, you know, because they had modernized it and made the witches as drug-induced psychics. So I just thought, how could they do that, you know, because they've changed it completely, but it really worked. So that was my, like, introduction to loving his work and his writing and that. So, any other questions? Yeah, because there's lots of connections between, I think, the Caribbean and patois and the Celtic, like, you know, folklore and the people, because a lot of the Celtics actually were sent to the Caribbean to work as either slaves or servants. So there would be a strong connection between the two cultures, so that would probably work in terms of, you know, like you said, deconstructing the, you know, writing. Yeah, that would work. Giving me ideas, thank you. But I hope that maybe you would write something as well yourself. And I hope that you all are writers here, because it's a way to express yourself, and also you never know where it might take you, because I think there was one poet who actually posted something on social media, and it got taken up by Beyonce, and it became a song that was on one of Beyonce's albums. So, you know, your writing, your ideas can take you anywhere. So, you know, always go for it and just try. Any other questions? Yes? I think it would be maybe Prospero, because the thing about, I think, performing is that it shouldn't be gender specific. So that if, you know, even though it's probably written for a male actor, because all the actors in Shakespeare's time were male and they played females. So I think that we can always be fluid around the casting. So, and it has been done where, you know, female actors have played male actors, male parts. So I think that Prospero would be a really good one, because I just love the magic of it, and also he's in charge, and, you know, he's sort of in control of the island and that. So that would be a really good role to play. Thanks. It's not really a translation of Shakespeare's work, because I've taken his monologues and I've changed the actual, changed the theme of it, or not the theme, but the actual content. Because, for instance, with the Patty monologue, that's about food, whereas with in the play, in Macbeth, it's about, you know, a dagger that he imagines that he sees. And so it's just like a reimagining of what Shakespeare wrote, and then how could I adapt it to reflect me? Because even though I've written it from the perspective of a grumpy old Jamaican man, it's all me, really. I mean, so, for instance, I've written about traffic wardens, but I've written it from a male perspective. But really, that's me, that's my voice. So it's not really a translation. And what was the next question? Sorry. Sometimes they really flow really quickly, and other times it might take a few months or even a year or two, because I'd start writing something, and then I might put it down and maybe do something else. And sometimes I would hear things, you know, because like Ashley said, be very observant and always see and hear, and whatever you like, you know, if you like something that you hear, write it down, because you never know what you could use it for. Because one play I wrote about swimming, because I love swimming, but I hate washing my hair because it just takes forever. And it ended, I ended it, and then I went to see a play, and I heard someone say a couple of lines, and I thought, oh, that would work for that monologue about swimming. So I added those 2 lines at the end. So it was lucky that it wasn't published by them, because if it had been published, then I wouldn't have been able to have done it. But because it hadn't, I could still add a couple of lines to it. And, you know, I think that because, you know, I think it's great to write whatever age you are, but I think because I'm older, then I have had lots more life experience, so that feeds into my writing as well. But I think everyone should write, no matter what age, anyway. Thank you. Any other questions? Hi. He said, what work would I like to translate from, with Grenadian as the core language? And what was the second part? What kind of genre would complement the language? I mean, with the monologues that I've written, there are some Grenadian words or phrases in there. So I think that with Grenadian, I mean, it's hard, because I think when they're talking, there's a lot of swear words in it, but not the common swear words that we use in England. But there are lots of, as we would say, cussing. So I think that I think it would have to probably be, again, like looking at either poets, you know, like maybe the first poet, she mentioned Wordsworth. I mean, maybe, you know, if I looked at that and saw how it was written, then I could maybe adapt it. But I think if I looked at poems, then I think that would be a way to go for doing more writing, where it's in another, like, vernacular, rather than just plain English. So, yeah, I think... but like someone said earlier about Dickens, that, yeah, that would work, because I could pick the themes that he wrote about, you know, because I could write one about Christmas, because he wrote A Christmas Carol. So, but I think that it's been said before about me writing in Grenadian, so I think that would be something that I'll have to look at, definitely, because to please my parents, for one. Have I had any negativity about writing and using Shakespeare's, like, some of his language and themes? No, I haven't, not really. The only thing that I've heard was that, you know, that I've sort of, what's the word? You know, the language is the thing about Shakespeare, and the words he uses, you know, they're very descriptive and very colourful, and so, you know, people have... I remember one person saying, how could you improve on Shakespeare? Well, you don't have to improve, but you can do something that's like left of field or whatever. You don't have to compete with Shakespeare, but the thing is that, you know, no one should be off limits. You should be able to, if you want to adapt any form of writing into how you want to, you know, portray it. Because I read a very good, it was written in a play form, and it used Shakespeare's language and his kind of, you know, the iambic pentameter. And it was based on Star Wars. Now, Star Wars is a good example, because that, again, is very iconic, and you would think, well, how can you improve on Star Wars? Because it's a great idea, and the themes are, you know, again, universal. So I just felt that, you know, if he could do that to Star Wars and write it in a Shakespearean way, then I can use Jamaican Patois and relate it to Shakespeare, because when I did my degree, I found out that Jamaican Patois is a recognised language. So that gave me more sort of bolster to feel confident about writing Jamakespeare. So, you know, you might be the first in something, or you might be the last in something, but at least try it. And, you know, you never know where it might take you, because, you know, if I didn't enter the competition, because I did write to, you know, I was rejected probably for, I'd say, it's about over 20 rejections I got before I won the competition. So, you know, like Ashley said, never give up, because, you know, you just never know who will give you the validation to say that your work is worth being shared with everyone. What's my favourite play by Shakespeare? That's a hard one, I think, because I'd studied because I studied Macbeth in school, I think it would have to be Macbeth, because it has a bit of everything, really. You know, it's got apart from comedy, I suppose, it's got, you know, love, tragedy. So, yeah, I think I would choose that one. But I saw a really great production of Midsummer Night's Dream, where it was just, you know, the first half, before the mechanicals do their performance, the first half was just crazy. And I thought, wow, how can it get any crazier? Because, you know, the mechanicals, their part is quite, you know, absurd. But then when it got to the mechanicals, it sort of went down, you know, in sort of energy and tempo, and, you know, it didn't work. But the first half was just amazing, the way they had, you know, just gone for it and really went crazy. So I'd love to have been in a production like that. When you're born, I think that you've got a destiny to fulfill, and I feel that my destiny was to be a writer, was to be a performer. I mean, first I've got the name of Garrick, which you might not know. He was a famous actor in the 18th century. He was called David Garrick. And I need to do my ancestry on that to find out whether I am related to him, because I did discover that he did travel to the Caribbean. So you never know. I might be a descendant. But so with the writing, I always, I loved going to the library, and you know, you put me in a bookshop and I could be there for hours. And, you know, during lockdown, I thought I'd have so much time to read. I bought so many books, and they're still on my shelf, not being read, but I will get round to them. So I've always loved writing, and I've always loved reading. And I feel that because I was, I thought I was an only child when I first, you know, for the first, I think 8 years of my life, because the rest of my siblings were in Grenada, and they hadn't come up yet, you know. So I would always entertain myself with putting on plays for my mum and dad, or my next door neighbour, she was keen to do that as well. So we would do little performances. So I feel that I've always lent on the creativity side. So I think it was like a destiny, really, that, you know, I would end up doing something creative, you know. So I'd always write little ditties, like if I had given a card to a friend or partner or whatever, I would always write a little poem that was pertinent to them, so it would, you know, it would be very special for them. So I was always doing little things like that. So I think it's been like sort of in my blood, really. It's hard to explain, you know. But I think that we're all predestined to do something, and to do something great as well. Thank you for that question. I wanted to add that I heard a really great quote from Glastonbury, because I went there a couple of weeks ago, and again, that was like the first time I've ever been, and I was very nervous and scared, but I did it. And I had a moon reading, which is totally different from what I've had before. And she said that I, myself, and transforming lives through creativity. So I think from the government's point of view, creative subjects are not to be taken seriously, but they are, because you can change people's lives just through either singing or either dancing or writing a book. Because Nelson Mandela, when he was in prison for 27 years, when he was released, he met Will Smith, who's probably not PC at the moment, with the last thing he did, where he hit Chris Rock. But Nelson Mandela thanked him for getting him through his prison period, because he said that without seeing his work on TV when he was allowed, it would have been a bleaker time in prison. But because, Will Smith, being a very good comical actor, helped Nelson Mandela at certain times during his prison sentence. So you never know what you do and how it's going to affect someone, either later on in their lives or wherever they are in that particular moment. So I would always say, always do something creative, always express yourself either through writing or performing or painting, because you just don't know how your work is affecting someone else. And, in a positive way as well. And I just wanted to add that Patsy Rodenberg, who is a very good voice coach for actors, she normally works at the National Theatre in London, but I'm sure she travels all around the country and maybe abroad. But she said, if Shakespeare's language evokes his period via iambic pentameter, then our rhythms, how we speak today, should be allowed to influence Shakespeare's language sometimes. So it doesn't have to be all the time, because Shakespeare will always be, the Don of, English literature. But you should be allowed to tweak it, twerk it, do whatever you like. And, I got a book published because I tweaked it a bit. So, you never know what you might be able to produce. I'll do the swimming monologue. And like I said before, for one of the questions, this is a monologue because I love swimming, but I just hate the washing my hair afterwards. To swim and not to swim. Now that is the problem. Whether it is nobler to wash myself before or after. Before don't make sense. To drown, perchance to float. Now that is I and I vexation. Is it because I and I is black, me heritage, me ball and chain, that me can't tread pon the water? But what go on? The water is not me friend, me brethren. Me hair a shrink up, me skin a quail up. You know what, man? Swimming is for the birds. Pass me the cocoa butter you hear. I go in for a sea bath. Now, the reason why I say sea bath is because in the Caribbean, they don't say, oh, I'm going for a swim. Come, let's go for a swim. They say, no, let's go for a sea bath. Because they like to bathe themselves in the water. They don't see it as an exercise. You see it's more as a recreation thing where they just go and, relax and take their time. So that's why it's called a sea bath rather than swimming. I'll do one about the English weather because I don't know what's going on, but there's no summer. And, this is England, isn't it? So now is the winter of we discontent. It not mine. Me not ask for it. Who in them right mind would ask for snow? soft and fluffy. No, sir, man, it cold to hell. Me nose a run, me feet them come like popsicles. Me can't feel them. Me a catch a fall all the time. Me now fare better in the English summer. How the sun can shine, but now warm unu. It's a joke. 4 seasons them in one day. Mother Earth, Mother Nature, you can keep your English weather. Me never leave me odd country to come live in one icebox. Me a go home, back a yard. Thank you. Yeah. Is that my time? Yes? Oh, so thank you all for listening, and thank you for being my first serious audience. You've been really great and really attentive, so thank you. And thank you for all the lovely questions as well. And thank you to the people that asked 2 or 3 questions, because that was really good. So hope you have a great day. Thank you.